I'm Benjamin Jacobs, a third grade teacher at Eagle Academy Public Charter School. I'm definitely learning some different things, like the professional development that we had after school a couple weeks ago. That was very interesting to me, just learning that different type of stuff that we should be teaching within our grade levels and everything like that. And it was interesting because you broke it down per grade level, I believe, what they should be learning at this grade level and stuff. For me, I usually want I feel like that with that training there was something I could take away and do in my classroom. If it is a training, I'd like it to be something that I can implement, in my classroom. And so I like it when there's a little mix of that, where it's okay, in the future this is what we're building to, but this is something you can start doing right away. I like the mixture so that there's a goal, but there's also something you can start changing in your classroom right now. I think that it's vital, and I think that they need to, as much as they learn how to do things on paper, they need to be learning how to do things on iPads and computers as well, because it is the way the future is going. And that's what I always, my friends and family are they don't quite get it. It's well, what if the computer's not working that day? I was well, it'll work the next day. It's still yeah, they still need to know how to write a paper, with pencil and paper, pen and paper, but they should also know how to take that and then do that on a keyboard with the computer as well. So I think it goes hand in hand. I think that obviously we don't want to abandon the old ways of doing things, because I think that's important that they still know how to write a letter and how to do all that stuff, but I also think that using technology in the classroom is needed. And I think a lot of students these days are so used to technology in their lives that if you really need to put it into the learning. So things I've tried to do is find games that teach that grammar skill and then put that into the center instead of having a worksheet or a regular game that's on paper. Have a game that's on the iPad. And I think that's beneficial because number one, they're usually a little bit more intrigued by it, and number two, that the program can usually provide them feedback right away whether they got the answer wrong or right. Whereas if it's a game on paper, you're kind of depending on their peers to maybe correct them if they get it wrong. So I think that's really beneficial to do. I think with ideas with that is I think some people are definitely more technology, just there's adults that are more tech savvy, I think there's kids that are more tech savvy as well. So I think, if you answering the question partner work, maybe they work together to type up a paper or, but yeah, I think definitely, and what I like to do with during centers, I'm in guided reading, so usually I will teach if it's if I have a game for one of the centers on my iPad, and if it's not the type of game that they can just open it up and go to it, I'll teach a couple people how to do it, and then they can go talk to those students about accessing how do I get to this game. So making tech leaders that can help them get to that game and making them responsible for that is another way. The things that I found impactful is just number one, just it being in it makes you think about am I teaching am I teaching this? Am I teaching them what this key stands for? What does this do? So that's how it's kind of impactful to me, because it makes me think about my teaching and think about, am I actually setting them up for success on technology, or is there more I need to do to make sure that they're set up for success on technology? I think one of the things that I find challenging is just, as a teacher with very there's not a bunch of planning time, so using anything new kind of takes investment and time outside of school and other times to figure out exactly how it works before you roll it out into the classroom. So just being, I guess, careful and picking and choosing very wisely what is best for your students, and going from there.